What's going on, everybody? Welcome to excuse me, we changed it a little bit, didn't we? Welcome to Fish Talk Live. This is Wednesday, July 10th. We have a great show tonight. Ron and I are here. Ron's got a great topic to teach today. He's going to be talking about other fish in your aquarium, particularly your African cichlid aquarium, but he's got some cool fish going on. So you guys know the drill. And things have been kind of slack a little bit lately, so let's see if we can collectively, as a group, share this out, and let's get a bunch of shares. Shares dropped by about 35% last week, and so we're hoping that everybody, I know, it's like, hey, the other guy's going to do it, but not necessarily. So let's get those shares out. I'm going to do my shares right now. I'll get ready to start up. Welcome, everybody. I did it again. Fish Talk Live, July 10th, episode number 37. It's going to be a great show tonight. I'm hoping that everybody will at least share this out to a couple different places. Share this out to your favorite groups. If you're an admin or a moderator, you want shout-outs on this show for your group, just contact us. Send us a message. We'd love to do that. I'm going to do a bunch of shout-outs tonight. So share it out, everybody. Let's see if we can get all those shares out and done, okay? Yeah. It's going to be a great show tonight. Ron's here. Both been having a great day. We got some cool stuff going on. All right, the chat bot's active. Star info in the chat will get you all sorts of information about Fish Talk Live. All right, let's get this started, everybody. Hey. What's going on, everybody? It's July 10th, and we are on episode number 37 of Fish Talk Live. Welcome, everyone. If this is your first time to Fish Talk Live, let me tell you a little bit about the show. We wanted to create something different in the fish keeping hobbies, particularly on the social media side. So we created this gamified, multi-stream show where we give a lot of stuff away, including a bunch of really cool content every week. Tonight being no different. Tonight we're talking about other fish. I got Ron Demers coming up. So that's what we do. We like to do a lot of shares. And why do we do the shares? Because we get 100 people online watching the show at the same time. We skip our spin to win wheel, which is our prize wheel, and we go directly to free fish, large fish off of Ron Cichlids shop. So we've been doing this now for about 6 months. Like I said, we're on episode number 37, and we tongue-tied there. That's what happens. I get like 20 messages right when the show starts. So. Well, every week I get to introduce my friend. He is an African cichlid breeder out of Palm Beach, Florida. He also creates a mix of fish food called Ron's Cichlid food. Super awesome. There's tons of varieties and types and sizes these days. And he's got such a well-known reputation for having like dialed in the perfect mix for fish. And, you know, there's always these debates. So actually, I'm surprised at how hot of a topic food is in the fish keeping thing. But here's the thing. There's a lot of good food out there. There's like 3 brands that you can say, yeah, this is great food. Ron's Cichlid food kicks that up a notch. So anyway, Ron's the developer of that. He's got 12 years into developing that formula, and it's just super awesome. He is also a lover of all cichlids, an awesome family man, great husband. Here he is, my good friend, Mr. Ron Demers. What's going on, Ron?
Wow, that was a pretty in-deep, heart-tugging introduction there, my friend.
You start crying?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. You're looking good tonight, Ron. Dude, like over last week you were like warmed over death laying in the thing, and tonight you're looking good.
I'm sore right now. I'm smiling. It's a roller coaster. You know, it's taking it easy, but your body is trying to heal, and it's using resources to heal up, and makes me tired a lot. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the Bionic Man, Mr. Steve Austin, was like that for 3 months after getting all his stuff too. So you'll be looking forward to pain-free times, I'm sure, here pretty close. So who are we seeing on, bro? Like
I see Robert Reed, Scott DeFore, Laurie Venker, Miss Tasha, Rebecca Dunn.
Yes, yeah.
Tammy, Mindy, Mr. Matt Gin and Whiskey.
Oh, our numbers are going up. I was a little worried when I first started. I was like, whoa, those are some really low numbers, but they're kicking up. There's Catlin, Scott McBride, Alethea Sowers. What's up, girl? Super stoked to have everybody on. We sent out so if you guys don't know this already, we have probably the best information service there is. Now, I know a lot of people get irritated with the word bot or with the services and everything, but in reality, I love all the bots I'm subscribed to. They bring me such great content every day. And I'm talking about other things in my life. There's several different things which I'm connected with brands that I love. And as long as it's not more than once a week, maybe twice a week, I got some that give me daily, but it's what I signed up for. But just know, you type in star info, you're signing up and you're opting into our service, which we do also create great content. One of the things that we do the most though with it is offer free giveaways. So I got in a scrap today with some guy that's like, I don't know, freaked out on me. He's like, man, I just signed up just 5 minutes ago, and now you're sending me 2 pictures and 2 paragraphs. And I'm like, you know what, man, I just don't have time for that. If you have an issue with it, unsubscribe. You're all good. Don't worry about it. And this guy just kept going on and telling me, he's like, bullshit that you're giving away free fish. All right now in the chat, for all those veterans that have been around for the last 8 months, the last 37 episodes, there is a possibility of winning free fish every single show. So you want to call me bullshit? I'm going to call you out, Mr. Delancey. There you go. All right. So I said it. Let's do some shout outs on some groups. Why don't you do that, Ron? Maybe you can just do it off the top of your head. I got to pull up something for myself because I said I would do these shout outs.
Okay. Yep. Trying to remember off the top of my head. I know one I'll never forget is Cichlid Madness, my boy GG.
Yeah.
Over there. He's an amazing guy, runs a tight ship. We've got Nathan Pate at Crown Royalty Cichlids, another great group, friendly, laid back, informative. Another moderator of ours, Scott DeFore, has Frontosa Lovers, Southeast Fish Addicts with TJ Hofstetler, the West Coast Cichlid Exchange with Isaac Garcia, another one of our moderators. Mm-hmm. Walter Kelly with United Tanks of America, Wicked OB Cichlids with Stephanie.
Prudente. Hey, so I've got some shout outs here for everyone. So I've never done this before. I've never fully tagged every fish person that has reached out to me. Now, keep in mind, you've reached out to me and asked me to be your friend. so I never tagged everybody, and I tagged everybody on tonight's episode. So I just want to run through this list real quick. Mr. Chris Team, James Smith, Nathan Pate, TJ Huffstedler, Greg Hayes, Isaac Garcia, Kimberly Bosworth, Walter Cruz, Chad Fisher, Garrett Brewer, Catlin Douglas, Matt Geneliski, and those are our moderators. Those are Ron's moderators for the Facebook group. So huge shout out there for all the work that you do, for your help and your great ideas and your moderating, keeping things from going crazy and all that stuff. I'd also like to give
your friendship. You know, we talk about things you know, outside of work, and we're a big family. So I love all you guys.
Yeah. So outside of that, I also tagged Mr. Duncan with the Higger Aquarium. Yeah, thank you for all your support and your help all the time. Brian Airtrip and David Cornell are customers of Ron's that have brick and mortar shops. Gigi, you got your shout out earlier. Kaylee Nyberg, also a moderator. Appreciate you. Charles Labella, Stephanie Prudante, Tasha Dunn, Jeremy Phyllis, JJ Castillo, Beth Neighbors. By the way, Beth, you had answered the question correctly, and I said you didn't, but you did. So there's my shout and props to you. Mr. Paul Weiser, thanks for your friendship. Client of mine, Derek Kissa Graham, Josh Greeley, Eric Thompson, Charlie Atwood, Cindy Smith, Eli White, Charles Valanoski, John Nadine, Brett Matheson, Mike M., Ivan Murphy, Joshua Gloud, Rudy Senna, Randy Tipton, and Buna Marcus, Juan and Dino Citron. This is a long list. There's only 4 more left. Oh, Peter Turo. What's up, Peter? I appreciate our friendship. Catherine Walker. And I never can remember his name. He's told me twice, but he goes by Ammo Fed and Mr. Rob Kinsey. We miss you, Rob. I saw a post in the clubhouse, and I was like, man, he's back. That's cool. So
taking a hiatus.
Yeah. So that was just a shout out, and I was telling you, Ron, I'm like, well, I'm going to tag everybody, and we'll put Fish Talk on their page. Anybody that untags, I'll just ditch them. So Andre Fritz with Beantown, appreciate our friendship, but I think it's time to break that off. Wishing you the best, bro. And yeah, so there's some stuff.
Yeah, he has me blocked, so he doesn't like me either. So
he called Memorial Day. He saw the things I did for you, and he's like, "Hey, man, I need you to do this for my business." Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. Spent the time to talk to him and do all that, and I got ghosted from a potential client. How weird is that? But anyway, nope. Best of luck to you, Andre.
No surprise.
See you later. Anyhow, let's see what else we've got. Turn on your notifications. Like if you're worried about what day we're on. We're on Wednesdays now, but anyway, that little bell right there, you click that and you will get a notification when we go online. I found this cool video, Ron, about a new game that's coming out. So these Germans, it's a German company, have a app. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like an iPad app. It could be Xbox. I'm not too sure. I couldn't figure out what platform it was on. But it's called Biotope Aquarium Simulator, and I've never seen anything quite like it. And I want to show you guys the video for this. So it's really cool. I'm really excited about it, actually. So let's go ahead and... So this is an aquarium builder. Different levels. You have different rocks and plants and fish. It's really cool. And you go through stress levels, breeding. You have to maintain the water parameters, oxygen levels, CO2 levels. You watch, here's an example of watching the plants and the algae grow. Just super cool looking. I was like, yeah. You buy different equipment, different backgrounds, rocks, plants. Level 2 is a Malawi tank. That's cool with the light, being able to move the light like that. Anyway, I'm hoping to talk to them. Maybe I can get them to sponsor a show or two, give us a couple of free codes for
Let's be product testers.
Yeah, product testers. Exactly.
What more could you ask for than guys who do this every day?
So I'm getting like fluid video. Each frame is going, but what's happening is it's a little blocky. I got the internet people coming tomorrow. Was on the phone with them on Saturday for a couple hours, and I'm gonna test all my lines, make sure there's nothing broke or anything like that. So. All right, isn't that cool stuff? It's pretty awesome. Anyway, it's a Biotope Aquarium simulator by MBL Development. They're out of Germany. I'll put up the URL for that on the page. Here's today's episode, everybody. And just a simple reminder for later for our questions and answers. We are hoping that we're going to get some callers in. Ron and I discussed that maybe we should just do the free giveaways for people that call in. Go total radio show on it. Anyway, that's how you get there. You can also type in star info into the chat bot right now, and it will open up a message. If you're on mobile, one click to call in. Before we start, Ron, I'm going to also talk about this, and I'll let you talk about this as well. The Cichlid Clubhouse has reached 3,000 members. So for member appreciation, there's a free raffle going on. Special thanks to James Smith and Jeffrey Kirk with 88 Tank Supply. They've offered a $75 gift card for first place. We're going to draw 3 winners, and the second place is going to get a Ron Cichlid t-shirt, your color and size, obviously, men's or women's shirt, whichever you choose. And then third place, consolation prize, we'll pick one, and that'll be a half pound of Ron Cichlid food. So that's going there. Let me say this, is you have to be a member of the clubhouse, and you'll see this picture, and in there is a link on how to sign up. So, I want you to comment on this too, because I know how much it means to you when you see your community grow, Ron.
No, it's amazing. I can remember when we talked about, when I said I wanted to start a group and what I wanted, and I wanted it to be friendly and helpful and laid back and non-judgmental, no fish police, no bashing, no discrimination. All the groups say that, but at some point it infiltrates the masses, and that's because of moderators and people not paying attention. We don't have that with our group, and it's exactly what we hoped it would be, a friendly, helpful page. And we're at 3,000 now, which is, it's not as big as some groups, but we've got 3,000 great people, and I couldn't be happier. So as you guys know, every chance I get when we hit a milestone or I want to give something away, I give back to you guys. And I've been watching the numbers, climb and climb and climb. And I've been talking about it for about few hundred members ago. That, hey, it's coming. We're getting close.
Yeah.
It was like 15, and I'm like, we got to do a raffle. I want to give away some stuff.
What's cool about what you just said is that, so I do this show, FishTalk Live, and help build out Ron's websites and things like that. But I also manage the social media aspects for Ron. So I get to see everything. I see every click, every like. I look at all the analytics and the metrics. And the cool thing about what you were saying is that, you didn't want any fish police and all that. We really only had to block out maybe 8 people. There's only like maybe 8 to 10 people total that was like, we think you'll be happier in another group kind of thing. And so, anyway, there's only like 8 people on that list. So that's cool. All right, Ron, are you ready? Or you want to?
I'm going to tackle this the best I can, guys.
Yeah. So, we're talking about other fish. This is going to include catfish and plecos and loaches and and things like that. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Ron. You let me know when you want to run the pictures. Like I explained earlier, it's a little more difficult on my side. So, and I don't know what order they're in.
I think what we should do is go through the content, and then when we can just play the pictures, and then I can
Gotcha.
name them when I see them.
Yeah, let's do that. Go through the content, and then we'll show some pictures. That sounds great, bud.
So tonight we're going to discuss other types of fish that can coexist with Africans, and maybe other species, but us, we're going to concentrate on Africans. So we're going to discuss open water type species. We're going to discuss mid-level aquarium species, bottom dwellers, and then we're going to wrap up with the cleanup crew. The guys that hang around the bottom and clean up uneaten food and stuff. So for open water types fish, there's several types of fish under certain circumstances that can coexist with African cichlids. What I'm getting ready to share with you is not the gospel. Doesn't matter if you believe they should be together or not be together. Everybody's got an opinion. I'm just saying it has worked either for me or other people. So one type is, and for open water, is a schooling type, we call. So one of the types that I've kept together is called monodoclus. They look very much like a angelfish with rounded fins. They are a very robust species. They're like on crack. They're running around like crazy all the time. They do very well with Africans. They get pretty good size. They get about the palm of your hand size. What's really neat about them is they are a very diverse species that can live in fresh, salt, or even brackish water. They breed in salt water but live in fresh water. They're kind of like, opposite of like salmon. It's a really neat species. There's several variations in the genus. The most common is the monodoclus seabay. And then there's one called the Argentinus and Acotilati. Those two aren't as popular. The sea bays are, like I said, the most popular out there. I've kept these before. I love their energy. They were in my 250 gallon with haps and peacocks, and they can hold their own. I had 11 of them in there. They all swam around together. And amazing fact with them, with the ones that I have, is they got a little too rambunctious for me because of how big they were. And a aquarium company in South Florida took them off my hands and actually put them in the Marlin Stadium Aquarium. So my personal monodoclus seabay fish are in the Marlin Stadium. And if you all want to look that up, the backstop for first base and home for the pitcher, where the ball goes past the catcher, there's an aquarium there in the Miami Marlin Stadium. So they live in there now. Really cool species. They'll eat just anything that the Africans do, and they're crazy. They got a lot of energy. It helps break up the monotony of fish listing around. Another type you don't see very much of, but they actually do very well and very peaceful as well, is silver dollars. It's a fish that most people put in with their Oscars and South American and Central Americans. But silver dollars, there's several different types of silver dollars out there with several different patterns. They're a schooling fish, so try to get 4 or 5 or 6 whenever you get a schooling type fish, and they're actually just going to swim around the tank together, which is always pretty neat. They're going to max out about the size of your hand, the palm of your hand. Really cool fish. Get that big round body. Some of them got a red hook on the bottom of their anal fin. Just not a normal fish that you would see in an African tank, but they do well. Another one, which we've talked about for many years, is they're called giant danios. It's something that you would get for your community freshwater tank, and you don't even think about putting them with Africans, but it's a very active species that hangs around at the very, very, very top of the water. When you look at when you see the picture of them later, you'll see that their body is flat on top, and then they have a little roundness to the bottom because they're meant to live at that very edge of the surface. We consider these dither fish. What does dither mean? Dither means a fish that distracts other fish. And if push comes to shove, if there's aggression in the tank, it's usually taken out on that fish, which doesn't cost very much. But dither fish help keep aggression down by concentrating energy of other fish paying attention to them swimming around all the time instead of worrying about, hey, what's that guy over there doing? Let's go kick his ass. The dither fish are good about keeping that at bay. They only get about 4 inches. That's about max size. And everything that we're going to talk about tonight, just remember, don't stick small fish with big fish. Don't stick anything that's 2 inches with stuff that's 5 or 6. You're asking for trouble if you do that. I mean, I can't help you there.
Yeah, one of the things about Danios is, so we've talked a lot about cycling tanks. We talked a lot about when the cycle breaks and when you're first starting up. Danios are relatively cheap, and so they're kind of like guinea pig fish.
Yep. And very hardy, hardy fish.
Yeah,
yep. So
throw them in there if you think you're having issues with your cycle and stuff. At least it's only a couple of dollars that you lose, but that's a great way to start up and make sure everything's going. And
people put them in breeding tanks just so if a male gets aggressive or something, that he picks on those $1.50 fish instead of your prize $30 female. It seems kind of rough, putting in a sacrificial lamb. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, Jurassic Park where they're dangling the goat, but, it just realize that, you're not going to be as unhappy if you come home and see one of those dead versus, one of your $50, $60 fish that got its ass beat by another one. So,
yeah. And, if they're missing, doesn't necessarily mean that they have been eaten. So when they get chased around, they'll jump right out of the water.
Yeah, it's just you can always go to the store and get a couple more. It's like when your 25-cent goldfish dies from your kid's aquarium, and when they're gone for the weekend, when they come back, you went to the store and you bought another one. They didn't even know it was gone.
Exactly. It's the same puppy.
That's just evil.
Yeah.
The next group is, mid-level species. Mid-level species are, fish that are going to be in the aquarium where normal fish are, kind of in the middle. There's a lot of choices. We're only going to touch on a couple, and we're trying to keep the show in a timely manner, but there's a lot of choices for mid-level species. One of the most stunning is, it's called a starry night cichlid. The scientific name is Paratilapia bleakeri. There's also another one, it's called Pulini, that looks very, very similar and very often confused. These are some amazing fish with some incredible color and speckled patterns. They are deep black fish with these greenish blue speckles, and there's a picture up now that's absolutely stunning. And the reason they get that nickname is it's like looking up at the stars in a dark night, when there's no light pollution. And same thing. I mean, just absolutely beautiful fish. They're not fast growers, but they're not slow growers. They're moderate, relatively peaceful, but they will hold their own when they need to. Please understand that these fish are going to get some size to them. I've seen them 12 to 14 inches. So when you do decide to get other fish to go with your Africans, do your research on max size, so you know whether or not you're eventually going to be able to continue to house them in your aquarium.
Yeah, I'd like to add is that, okay, so I've had 2, and I got about a year ago, and I got him about 2 inches, and he's probably 4.5 inches to 5 inches. And they stay to themselves quite a bit, and they'll stay in the corners out of the way a lot. But they can be very aggressive when there's 2 of them. Okay, just so you know. And they do get big, but they're fairly slow growers. Like, it seems like Frontosa slow to me.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but it's like I said, if it does get 14 inches, I'm expecting 5 years maybe.
Well, they live quite a while. Some of
Yeah.
these species we're going to talk about tonight live 10, 12, 15 years. Um, these are kind of oddball species that, like the starry night, you can find them. They're not really easy to find, but they are out there, and it's you got to dedicate the time, like you just got done saying. You got them small, and you've got a year invested into them, and they're still way very far from being done growing. But beautiful fish. I mean, I don't know what there is not to love about those guys. I mean,
So
eventually,
the name again is Bleakery and
yep.
Polini, I think is the other one, right? They're
There's
very
another one
similar.
called Polini, and they look very, very, very similar. They're almost identical. The bleaker eye is the one that's been nicknamed the Starry Night, but it's just an amazing fish. I mean, you can look at that. I can look at that picture all day long and talk
Yeah.
about. I mean, just what's not to love.
Yeah.
Um, so another one that is a good fish for Africans, and there's people that are going to love them, and there's people that are going to hate them, but um, I kind of dig them. They grow on me. Is a parrot cichlid. Um, let me just start off saying that these are some goofy ass looking fish. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, people. They're goofy looking fish, but they grow on you. They've got these cute little mouths, the tiny little mouths. They got these puffy little cheeks. They just grow on you. I don't know, man. Call me a sissy, call me a softy, call me crazy, but they just grow on me. I've adopted quite a few of them that were given to me over the years, and even though they look like an abomination sometimes, there's a special place in my heart for them because they didn't create themselves, man did,
Yeah.
and you look at their face and they look at them. I mean, how can you not fall in love with that cute little pudgy cheek, like a new fresh puppy dog?
I got two of them. One of them looks like he's stoned all the time with a huge smile on his face.
Wait, stop.
Yeah.
What does a stonefish look like?
Well,
Let me ask that question now.
I'll pull up some pictures here at some point in the future. They do kind of get fat. They get really muscular. They're a hybrid fish. The one thing you want to stay away from. Okay, so if we're going to be conscious fish keepers, there is some varieties that are purple and blue and green, and now they're not. They're injected with dyes.
They're jelly beans.
Yeah, the jelly beans, and it's actually a pretty cruel thing for the fish. So in general,
Absolutely.
I mean, it depends on how you feel, but I personally would like to tell people let's not support that aspect of fish keeping.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was going to touch on the fact that there's several varieties of these. The common is the pink and peach orange color. And then you've got the King Kong parrots. The King Kongs get very large. They get up to 10 to 14 inches, whereas the commons, 4 to 6, 7 inches. These guys can live 12 to 15 years. I know people who've had them even longer than that. But the jelly bean parrots, they're not only injected with dye, but they also have a distorted body, and they were made to look like jelly beans. And I've seen them green, yellow, blue, every color, and does it when I see them, it bothers me. I don't. We just had this topic on the forum of what's your least favorite fish, and my answer was a fish that's been significantly altered from its normal state. Glowfish, jelly bean parrots, things like that. I don't think man needs to step in and drastically alter, colors and stuff like that artificially. It's
Hey, let me ask you a question about this because I always forget. Well, what I was going to say is there's a really cool variety that's mixed with a convict that looks really cool. So it looks like a parrot, but it's got the convict stripes and it's gray. But the question is, Ron, is either the male or the female is sterile. I forget which one it is for the parrotfish.
It's not always that cut and dry. That species is known to have fertility issues, but they are not completely sterile. Just like they said in Jurassic Park, Mother Nature finds a way. It's the same thing. You can have two parrots that do breed. This is how they continually produce them. But you have an inferior gene that's in there, and you can definitely have sterile ones.
Thanks, Pammy, for sharing out. I just saw that. All right. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Ron, but I
But
saw
these
that.
guys are very friendly. They have a lot of personality to them. If you're wanting something a little different, you want something cute, you want something lovable, um, you can look into parrots. I've seen them in a lot of African tanks. I know they do fine with Africans. They hold their own. They're not overly aggressive. They're usually very passive, um, and they usually don't get bothered by anybody else in the tank. Um, Another one for mid-level species is a jewel cichlid. Jewel cichlid does come from Africa, but it is an African river fish. They don't in nature, coexist with, Malawi or Victoria or any of those lakes. But they're beautiful fish. They actually, just about everything I've shown you already exists here in Florida unnaturally as well. But these guys, especially in the wild, get this bright, bright, bright red with these turquoise green spots on the side. Um, they can go either way. They can be aggressive. They can not be aggressive. Typically, if they are aggressive, it's like you were saying before. If you got two of the same species, two males, or if they're trying to breed, they can be aggressive. But other than that, it's a great addition to the tank. Add some good color to the tank. Reds, true reds are hard to find. But jewels can get along with just about everything. I've seen them in buoy tanks. I've seen them with haps and peacocks. Most of what we're talking about tonight isn't for Tanganyikan tanks. It's for, haps, peacocks, and maybe Mabuna.
Mm-hmm.
Tanganyikans are more specialized. You don't really want to mix these guys with Tanganyikans.
So I've got jewels in every single one of my tanks. I got them in my Mbuna tank. I got them in the Peacock and Hap tank. I got them in the South American, Central American tank.
Yep.
And one of the things I remember reading about them when I first got them were that with our hobby, there's always this different level of degrees of how serious something is. But this one was like everybody was saying it. Don't put a male and a female into the tank with community because they literally could kill off, and people were telling nightmare stories about the pair killing off the whole tank. And so they can be aggressive. And I only have, out of the 5 or 6 that I have in the tanks, I only have one that's like... see him chasing everybody around, and he's in the Mbuna tank. So the one in the Mbuna tank, and kind of by design too, because the Mbuna tank is a lot of activity for me. So I was like, I'll put the rowdy one in there.
I've seen them very active. I've seen them shy. I've seen them all different ways. I mean, we catch them here in Florida, when we cast net bait, and they are, oh my God, they're fire engine red. The ones we catch down here out of our lakes and canals.
Yeah.
Just beautiful fish. There's also a couple other different types of jewels that are more of a turquoise or even a greenish color. But those 3, I mean, there's many more species than that, but those are 3 that you typically see in the hobby when you're looking at, mixed African tanks, and you're like, hey, what's that fish? Well, these are some of the common ones that people can get away with mixing with Africans without any real issues.
So let's talk about the bottom fish, Ron.
So we're going to break bottom fish up into 2 sections.
Okay.
We're going to call them. We're going to call one bottom dwellers, and then we're going to call the last one cleanup crew.
That's awesome.
Because they're 2 different. They're 2 different. Everybody thinks, well, they live on the bottom. Well, in a minute, I'm going to explain to you the difference. So, something you don't necessarily always see in a African cichlid aquarium, but they do exist. And once again, you have to have the mindset of knowing what you're getting yourself into and the requirements for this fish, and what are its feeding habits. How big is it going to be? Is my tank big enough? So I can only stress that so much. So moving into the first one, that's the reason why I mentioned this, is called a bisher. Bishers are really cool fish. They are the most prehistoric looking fish you're ever going to see. I know once I set up a big tank eventually when I move to my other house, there's one right there. These guys are just seriously badass, prehistoric looking. Um, they have like a long eel-like body, and they got a big appetite, and the colors on them are just really striking. Like I said, just so prehistoric looking.
They do
Uh,
call them dinosaur fish, by the way.
yep. They are they're really cool. They get there's about 12 different species of them, and they're from all over freshwater systems of Africa. You know, tropical Africa, believe it or not. They do get big, and you should pay attention to their housing and make sure these next few fish we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna stress. Make sure you don't put them with something that can fit in their mouth. Okay, these guys have a mouth like a snake on them and can really pack down the food. So don't put a 12-inch bisher in with your fry grow out or your 3-inch fish, or you're going to be giving him some very expensive snacks.
Can I tell my little bitcher story?
Yeah.
I saw him. I loved him. I got one. He was about 2 inches, and then he grew really fast to about 5 inches or so. But he was in a small 15-gallon where I was trying to resuscitate Tropheus or whatnot. And it's a black tank with black sand, one simple light. And when you go to clean it, you have to kind of move the light away. So I actually ended up sucking him up through the siphon. Yeah, through the python. And I had no idea until I went to disconnect the other end of it, and I was like, "What the hell, man?" And there he was. He got kind of squished through there. So then I got another one, and he just disappeared somewhere. I don't know what happened to him. He's one of those mystery fish. You know, they're in the tank, and then you look and you hadn't seen him in a while. Well, I haven't seen him in like 2 weeks. Pull everything out of the tank. There's no bitcher in there anywhere. So he's either jumped out and living behind the tank, all dried up leather,
or he's underneath something hiding. And unless you take the tank completely apart, he ain't gonna show his head.
Well, I did. I took everything out, and then I run my hands through the substrate, and I think he jumped out, or someone ate him. That they could have eaten him really fast. I don't know. We'll see.
No fish jerky behind the tank on the floor.
I suspect that there might be, actually.
Because you got cats, so I don't think anything that hits the floor isn't going to last very long.
Yeah, that's true.
Really cool fish. They're going to get big, from 10 to 30 inches. What's really cool about them is they breathe air. They have a paired lung, which helps, with the gas exchange, so they can live in, poorly oxygenated areas. At the very top of their head, they've got 2 small little pits. They're called spiracles, and they breathe through those. So it's a pretty neat fish. They've been around since dinosaurs, and they figured out how to live this long. They do like to eat fish. So please don't put them with anything small. Another really cool thing about these guys is they can actually use their pectoral fins to walk. They'll actually prop themselves up, and they'll just kind of like walk on those pectoral fins. So you'll see them in the tank sometimes doing that. It's pretty neat. We've got fish down here called snakeheads. You can get them for aquariums too, but they live down here in Florida, and they have very, very hard pectoral fins, and you see them basically cross the road because they can't get over there. They can breathe air as well. So they basically just get out and take their ass and just wiggle all the way across the road. It's pretty amazing.
I've seen a YouTube video like that where there was some sort of flooding or something, and they were coming out of the storm drains and walking down the sidewalk.
Yep.
Yeah.
They need a little bit of water basically, or they're going to dry up. They're very slimy, but the reality is they only need like a ½ inch of water, and they can just something to keep them from, sliding around, and they can just walk on their pectoral fins, kind of like, mud skippers can do it too. Another fish, it looks like an eel. It's really, really cool. I was supposed to get some a couple weeks ago, but I never got them because of the surgery. called fire eels. Fire eels come from Southeast Asia. It's a freshwater fish, from Vietnam, Thailand area. But like I said, despite the name, it's not a true eel. It's a fish. It's got long, tapered snout, long cylindrical body. Really beautiful species. They got bright red stripes down their side. But these guys are a little more secretive, a little more shy. They're known more to be nocturnal or needing a hiding place. They like to burrow in the sand. They like to hide in pieces of wood or pipes or stuff like that. But when the lights are low, they're really cool, especially if you've got 3 or 4 or 5 of them in the tank. They'll hang around and swim together. Really neat, guys. These, like I said, I was supposed to get about 40 or 50 of them a few weeks ago, and I was looking forward to just having a tank full of them. They're pretty hardy eaters as well. At first, when you first get one, they may be stubborn to take commercially prepared dried foods. You're probably going to have to give them, frozen foods or bloodworms or something until you can get them transitioned over to, pellets. And then another bottom dweller, believe it or not, is more of a bottom fish, are knife fish. Knife fish, you're seeing them more and more in the hobby now. A lot of people are experimenting, putting different South American, Central American type fish with Africans. Knife fish are really, really cool, very unique. You guys maybe, you may have heard of like clown knives or the black ghost knife. Those are the black ones with the little white on their tail. This picture that's up here now is a tiger knife fish. One that's not very common in the hobby. But they have a really unique, like, knife-shaped body, and they have the ability to swim backwards. This is another fish. There's a clown knife. We have these in our waterways in Florida as well. And it's really neat when you see them. They basically come up, they gulp air, but they can sit there in one spot and actually swim backwards with that bottom fin. It goes from basically the front of their stomach all the way back to their tail. And they kind of have this undulating movement where they could actually go in reverse. They're really cool fish. Again, another fish that's more low light, nocturnal. They have very little eyes, very sensitive to light. They're found all over the place: Central America, South America, Asia, and even Africa. They're pretty diverse species. Once again, they get big, guys. Some of the African species, may get 8-10 inches, but some of these, like clown knives, may see 3 feet at full adulthood. So choose your species carefully. Some are more passive than others, more shy. You definitely don't want an overly shy fish with Africans. That's kind of a death letter, basically. But once again, before you purchase something like that, understand what its needs are, and it's going to get big. They like flake food and like really small pellets, but they do like things like shrimp and stuff that actually has more of a flavor to it than dry foods. Even some of them will take live brine shrimp really well, or even little ghost shrimp as well. They're not really that aggressive, but they can be territorial, just like anything else. But like I said, this is just a couple species that are not really off the wall. You see them in people's aquariums, and you ask, or you think to yourself, "Hey, I didn't know you can keep those together." It's not for everybody. Mixing these species that we just talked about, not this. The ones that I'm getting ready to talk about in a minute aren't as intertwined with you needing to do your research. But everything that I've discussed up till now, you need to do some research. I'm not telling you that it's a perfect match. I'm just telling you it is possible, depending on what your circumstances and your situation is. And then the last but not least,
go ahead and take a deep breath, because it's got to be hard to talk so much with that collar on.
it is.
So You're doing a great job. So let me just recap a little bit. Ron's basically been breaking these other fish down by the levels in the tank. So we looked at some of the schooling fish that swim towards the top, stay together. Some mid-level fish, and we've just started going into some of these more exotic bottom feeders like these knife fish and the eels and things like that. So that's awesome. And I forgot what I was going to say. See how that is.
It's always nice to have something different in there. I've been keeping Africans for 25 years. I love Africans. Okay. I love them. I love them. I love them. But it's always neat to have something different in there. Just to break up, not really the monotony, but the normal way they act. Like you can see the tank in, my background, they're all albino dolphins. They all act a certain way, but I could stick 10 monodocylus sea bays in there, and what you're going to see is you're going to see this running around in there, and it's just something a little different. And I know we didn't touch on it on the episode of aggression, but these species that are different do a very good job of distracting the other fish that would normally be picking on another fish. This focuses their attention on something else. So that's a side benefit, so to speak. Last but not least, something as near and dear to my heart, and you're much more flexible with what we're going to talk about now. Just going to call them the cleanup crew. Cleanup crew is fish that live on or near the bottom that take care of, your algae, uneaten food, snails, any little worms or any little bugs that you've got in your substrate. They're not going to eat poop. I get this question all the time. I need some fish to put on the bottom of my tank to eat poop. Well, there's not a whole lot of things out there that like to eat poop, and I don't know of any fish that enjoys eating poop. So don't look at it that way. First and foremost, loaches. Loaches are near and dear to my heart. They always have been. They are probably one of the most common of your bottom type feeders. Lots of different colors, body shapes. Some of the most popular ones, of course, are clown loaches. Everybody's heard of clown loaches. This is a zebra loach that I'm seeing pictures of now. You've got tiger loaches, coolie loaches, zigzag loaches, hill stream loaches. I mean, I can go on for a half an hour, the different types of loaches. Most of them are wild caught. There is not very much success breeding loaches in captivity. They need to be in fast flowing rivers in nature. The clown loach. Go ahead.
I was going to say there's your clown loach.
That's the clown loach. Absolutely amazing fish. I've got probably 60 plus of these guys right now. I love them. When I first get them, some people don't have very good success with them because they have not been in captivity very long. I keep them for a minimum of 3 months with African cichlids before I ever sell them. That way they can get used to African cichlid water parameters and being with those type of fish. So I can actually teach clown loaches to be a little more outgoing than normal. But the striking orange and blue with the red fins is amazing on these guys. A lot of loaches, or otherwise known as botia, B-O-T-I-A, they have these hooks that are on the side of their cheeks that actually hang back, and they lay flat. And when you catch them in a net or they're pissed off or something, like this picture right here, right under the eye, you see that little wishbone of shimmer. That's actually a little bone that is a barb, and it'll actually come out like a catfish fins. And if something tries to swallow it, they'll let go of it pretty quick. Most of these loaches, you can tell by their body shape that they're designed for feeding on the bottom. Their mouth is on the very, very bottom. Their bodies are shaped to where they're very aerodynamic, like a what is the name of that camper? The silver metal, all metal campers.
Streamliner.
Airstream.
Airstream, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they look just like that. Basically, their bodies are designed to be in a stream and basically feed. So these guys do a really good job of not only eating uneaten food, which most of the time we have to feed them more food because Africans, there's not a whole lot of food that makes it to the bottom.
Yeah.
I like to feed these guys my juvenile food because it's nice and small.
Yeah. So what I'd say about that I've noticed, and why I think every tank should have some loaches, whatever loaches you decide to go with, is that they are going to clean the cracks and crevices. That spot where the rock hangs over and it's touching the substrate where no one else gets in, these guys will go and get all, when you pick up your rock and all that shit goes everywhere. These guys are going to clean that out. They also have amazing personalities. The clown loaches are like, I love watching them, especially when there's a couple of them together and they like to hang out together. They
partner up with others, and really quickly you can get like 2 this week, 2 next week, 2 months later, and they'll all just pair up together like a big posse, like a gang. They're really cool.
Yeah. So let me run that video real quick. And you can talk.
Eating snails.
Yeah, you can talk over this. Go ahead. Just keep telling us about loaches while this is... that's an 11-inch loach, by the way. But yeah, go ahead and keep talking. I just wanted to run the video a little bit while you're doing that.
But the clown loach is probably the most popular. I would not suggest getting them any less than 3 inches. The small ones end up getting eaten by something. And the problem is I've lost a few fish in my time. They look so tasty to your bigger fish that once they eat it, it'll typically get stuck in their mouth, and those barbs will come out, and they will cause damage to the fish that does swallow them. I've had a snail problem for probably a year, and I've hit the snails hard with Seachem cupramine. And it's a daunting task to measure my copper every day. But I got some more clown loaches about 2 months ago. And I put them, 10 in each one of the tanks on my porch. And I'm going to tell you right now, there ain't one damn snail in any one of those tanks. I have a boneyard of snail carcasses in every single one of those tanks that I have them in. Knock on wood, there ain't nothing that's going to eat snails. Like, you eat those pesky little trumpet snails, ain't nothing going to take care of them like the damn clown loaches. A lot of loaches eat snails, don't get me wrong, but clown loaches have like this. Snails are like their arch nemesis, like a lion and a hyena, man. They just don't waste any time.
Yeah.
But
the end of that video there was pretty awesome. Again, I apologize about the low bandwidth, but one of the coolest tanks I've ever seen had 300 clown loaches and about 25 full-grown star sapphire haps. And it was amazing, that blue with the white chips on the haps, and then all those loaches. There's
a video somewhere, I think we saw it a couple months ago, that it's got like 300 or 400 tiger barbs and like the same amount of clown loaches. It's a really big tank. It's just tiger barbs and clown loaches, so it's just a sea of tigers basically.
Yeah.
Clown loaches get pretty big, the bigger they get, the more expensive they get. But loaches come in all shapes and sizes. Some are eel shaped like the coolie loach, some are dumpier, but very good addition to bottom feeders, so to speak. They will come up like the tiger loaches. I have redfin tiger loaches. They basically swim around the tank with the rest of the fish and we eat food wherever they want. But they bring a lot of personality to the tank. And when something else we got to talk about is when you're stocking a tank, you got to realize that it's not that whole 1 inch per gallon thing that they tell you at the pet store. So if you've got fish that are going to primarily take up the middle of the tank, you can add more fish than you normally would stock if they live on the bottom or if they live on the very top. They don't live in the same part of the water column, so you can add more fish.
Yeah.
Um, Loaches, gotta have some.
Yeah, gotta have some for sure.
Next one is catfish. We all love catfish, but there's lots of types to choose from. Do your research. There are types of catfish that are cute and cuddly, and they're gonna be that bottom feeder. There's also catfish that are gonna get big and they're gonna eat everything in your tank. Catfish are gluttonous. Their eyes are bigger than their stomach. So if your catfish looks like it's got a big mouth, it's like buying a puppy that's got really big paws and you think he's going to stay small. Yeah. He's not. He's going to get big. Yeah. Same thing with catfish. Lots of different types. You know, they have striped Raphaels and Pictus cats. The most common for Africans is Synodontis catfish. There's a picture of them up now. I love Synodontis catfish. I've got some in the tank behind me here. I like Decorus. There's Multipunctatus, Euruptus, Angelicus. There's quite a few different species of Synodontis. They're more low light, nocturnal. You know, my guys live under this rock. Basically, they're right there. They live right on the edge of this rock. They'll come out when the lights start to go down in about half an hour, and when I throw food in the tank, see, everybody thought I was going to feed them. all the dolphins are like, "Hey, feed me." So when I throw food in there, they just go ape shit, man. They just start bouncing off the walls. They're just crazy. Good cleanup crew, but once again, most of your cleanup crews, you're going to have to give them a little more food. They average, 3 to 8 inches, fully grown. Some get a little bit bigger. Lot of diversity in colors and patterns. So if you're going to choose catfish, do your research, please. We don't need anything like a channel cat or a bullhead or anything that's going to eat everybody. Algae eaters. Shoot, just about everybody needs an algae eater at some point in time. Large variety of algae eaters. I'm only going to touch on a few. I'm missing a vast majority of them, but plecos. Everybody here that's watching this show knows what a pleco is. Plecostomus algae eater. They make them in all shapes, sizes, colors, patterns. My favorite is bushy nose or bristle nose plecos. I breed and raise, long fins like the picture you see. The bushy nose have a tree growing out of the front of their face. The males do. Females don't have that. They max out at 5, sometimes 6 inches. They are much more active than a normal pleco that you would get at a common pleco, $2 at a pet store. They are much more active during daylight. They poop a lot less, and they do a much better job of eating algae. And like Dave said, with the loaches, they do get in the nooks and crannies where the bigger plecos won't get.
Which one are we? I'm sorry, I interrupted. Which one's this? A chocolate or what?
That's a chocolate bushy nose.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. Like I said, I breed and raise chocolates and albinos, and then the reds. I love them. They're really good breeders, really good parents. The female and male. The female lays eggs. The male does his business, and then the male guards them, and until they hatch. The female, after she lays the egg, she leaves. He does the rest of the work. Chinese algae eaters are another very common algae eater. They're only a couple bucks. They get 3 to 5 inches. I've got probably a 6-incher in my show tank in the living room. They do a really good job of eating algae. Pretty mild, peaceful fish. Once again, they don't necessarily like their own kind. The normal one isn't very colorful, but there is an albino or golden version that is much better looking. They're like a cream yellow color. Lots of different types of plecos, like we were talking about. Common plecos get like 3 feet long, and they're crap machines. I mean, literally more comes out than goes in. You've got specialty types like royals and green phantoms, gold nugget plecos. Check and make sure before you get any specialty plecos, plecos that cost $40, $50, $60, $80, $100, $200. Before you buy them, check on the water parameters it was raised in. A lot of these are brought in from the wild. pH is generally 5 to 6, and they're not here in the States very long before they're sold. And they don't make it very long in captivity because we cannot replicate their normal feeding habits, their normal water conditions. Just because the pet store has them doesn't mean they're in good health. I've been down that road quite a few times. Some of them only eat wood. So do some research before you spend a buttload of money on them.
Hey, I have a question about the loaches. Let's step back just 1 second. You know that behavior where they're, I don't know, it's like they're eating the side of the other fish's gills or their mouth. You know that? You know the behavior I'm talking about? Where they swim with them and they're like...
I've got some tiger loaches that do that. They basically swim with the fish and they look like they're pecking at them, but I don't think they're actually making contact. They look like they're just like getting in their personal space, you know, for some reason. My tiger loaches do that. Really cool fish because they swim around with the other fish, but Hunter and I were sitting there watching them today, matter of fact, on the porch, and Hunter goes, "Look at this one. He's a dick." And I'm like, when I'm really watching him going, "Why are you messing with my breeder male sunburst fryer eye?" And I'm looking at him. He wasn't actually making contact with him. He was just going around just pounding his chest like, "Hey, check me out. I'm a badass."
The Chinese algae eater, too, is not like a timid little... He'll stay to his own and he'll be holding on to the side of the tank. But if another fish comes and starts messing with him, he will turn on him and face off with them.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
Well put. They will literally say, "Okay, you mess with me. Okay, I'm going to get right back to you." And I've seen them chase other fish, but it's usually only when they get messed with or with their own species. So the last one we're going to talk about are sharks. And these guys are just like that. Red-tailed sharks, rainbow sharks, albino rainbow sharks. They're commonly overlooked, but I've kept them with Africans for many years. Beautiful addition to the tank.
That's an albino shark, right?
That's an albino rainbow. That's my favorite. Every time anybody would ever see one of those in my show tank, they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's a 7-inch albino rainbow shark." "Well, I didn't know I can keep that in there." Well, yes, you can. But the reality is typically you can only have one in a tank. They do not like each other. I don't know how they ever get around to breeding because I have never been able to keep two together very long. They just don't like each other. But one, they do a really good job, and it breaks up that monotony. That's what we're talking about tonight is different species that you can put with Africans that not only may have a purpose in the aquarium, but also something different that you want to look at. So you don't have to have 36 aquariums in your house. So these are sharks, basically. The red-tailed shark, which that one right there, they're the biggest dick of them all. The rainbows aren't as aggressive as them, but they're really cool fish. So put them on your radar. You know, if you want something to if you feed heavy-handed, then think about having a few fish on the bottom to help out with that.
What do you think about those Bela sharks? So they fit in that same category?
They're really cool. I've seen them with Africans. They're a schooling fish as well. I almost put it on the list, to be honest, but kind of have to have the space for them to swim. You have to have a bigger tank. But the silver Bela sharks are really neat. And there's also another one too. A high fin banded shark, really neat. They look just like a loach. Their body is built to where they're flat on the bottom and then they're round and streamlined like a loach. They have a really high dorsal fin. It's called they got a 5-band and I've got a high fin shark. I just didn't mention them because they wouldn't even be in my top 10 to put with Africans. They're typically a little more on the timid side. It just depends on how robust your tank of fish are. You know, some of these do well with peacocks and haps. Some of them, no way in hell I'd put them with Mabuna. So do some research, ask questions, ask me. If you see somebody that's got them in their tank, pick their brain. Whatever they're doing, that situation may not be the same as yours. It may or may not work. So try to get as much help research. Now there's going to people that are going to just tell you no, don't do that. Forums are going to do that. You're going to ask a question and they're going to tell you no. Don't just go off with a no answer. Ask why. And it's not always a no. Sometimes this stuff does work. If it didn't, I wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, and Ron's done it. He's had tanks. I've certainly had tanks, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that have had tanks with many of the fish that he talked about. Great topic. Good job teaching that. I know that you're only 2 weeks after your surgery and everything, so you're sitting there, and we can't even tell, Ron. You're killing it. If you didn't have that neck brace on, nobody would have even known. We're going to take a break, everyone. We want to shout out a couple of the sponsors that are going on here. Of course, Mr. Ron Demers sponsors this show through Ron Cichlids. You can find it at shop.roncichlids.com. Here's something real cool that's on the shop right now. Girl shirts.
My friends and I will stop like every other day. Shaking the funk where all the boys are riding skateboards. They look so hot, they look so cool. Everyone is around, and that's when I saw that someone new not from around. You see on holiday, or will they stick around? He looks so hot, he looks so cool.
88 Tank Supplies providing this 3,000 member appreciation giveaway, a $75 gift certificate. They have some of the best Japanese rock, holy rock. Their website's WYSIWYG, so what you see on their website is what you get. Also like to shout out, and you can find them at 88 Tank Supply, by the way, 88tanksupply.com. I'd also like to shout out Acrylic Habitats, one of the best acrylic manufacturers for sumps and filters, bird cages and aquariums. Great people in North Carolina there. This website is coming along, and it's acrylichabitats.com. So Ron loves his customers, if you haven't noticed. And this is what some of his customers are saying about his stuff.
Alan Douglas, I'm from Rochester, Illinois. Try Ron Cichlids, you guys. His fish are awesome. They're big, beautiful, vibrant. I got a couple of them in here. Also, his food. His food is unreal. They devour it. They splash me for it. That's the only bad thing I can say about the food is I get wet every time I feed them almost. But 5 stars all around. Get a hold of Ron, roncichlids.com.
So Ron's got several groups depending on the kind of fish you like to keep. He's got the Mbuna Hangout. Ron Cichlids Aqua DIY group is an awesome group. Lake Tanganyika Cichlid Clubhouse is an awesome group. One of my favorites is the Amazing Tank Showcase, where we just show great pictures of the great tanks and all that good stuff. Aquarius Marketplace is a great place to sell your gear and promote your groups and all of that. And it wouldn't be complete without a New World Cichlid Hangout. So if you like these kind of shows, if you like Fish Talk Live, I have a new show on Sunday mornings where we talk just about CBD. So I'm just doing a quick shout out right here. If you go to CBD-live, CBDlive.tv on Facebook, you can check it out. We had our first episode, which was really awesome last Sunday. If you're not in part of or don't know much about CBD, it's revolutionary and it's changing the world right now. And it's they call it the Green Rush. So if you're interested in a business opportunity as well, you might want to check that show out. All right, Ron, let's go ahead and check out what some of the questions are. I've been getting them from different places, not all in one place, so I kind of have to figure out what's going on. If you're calling in, this is the time to call in right now. Let's see here. Let me look here. So one of the questions here... Someone's asking about South and Central American cichlids and small dwarfs. Do they consider them? I don't see the whole thing. Do they school together? From my experience, not necessarily, no. But what's your take on that, Ron?
You got Apistogrammas and Crebensis and stuff. No. You also got, things like Acaras and Rams. you can get away with putting those in there, but no, they're not a normal schooling type fish. They're usually to themselves, or they pair up. That's about it.
Cheryl Coley, we always appreciate your questions, Cheryl. We appreciate your engagement. She wants to know, can the Sodontis go with Mbuna?
Yes. Synodontists do like their hiding places, just like Mbuna do. So just make sure that the Synodontists aren't anywhere near the same size as Mbuna. Make sure they're much larger. Even 3-inch Synodontists could get abused by 3-inch Mbuna because they don't move around a whole lot. So try to, when you do get catfish and stuff like that, Synodontists and loaches, try to get them a little bit bigger than for Mbuna size. Try to get them a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Give them a fighting chance, so to speak.
Yeah. I have a Sodontis, I think, in my Amazon tank, and Multipunctus in the Mbuna tank. And you hardly ever see them. The multi will stay in the caves and in the rocks all the time, and then the lights go out, and he's doing his thing. He always cracks me up because he's like, he's got a grid, and a natural grid, right? So he goes up and down, and then moves over an inch, up and down, moves over an inch, up and down. It's so cool. Hey, we didn't get any calls tonight, which is fine. We're running a little behind on time, and we didn't get a whole lot of questions, which means you did an awesome job tonight, Ron, with getting all that stuff out there. One thing I would like to do here is, Ron Cichlids is a multi-social platform, and you can find Ron on Twitter at Ron Demers6, and you can also find him on Instagram at Rons_Cichlids. So let me bring y'all
giving away stuff mood.
Yes, sir. So you guys know what this music means. I want to see some reactions. I want to see the chat light up a little bit. Let us know how you like the show. All right, so give me a hashtag for one of the spinners. Ron?
Oh, I had it earlier when you said something. It was funny, but I forgot what it was.
How about? Okay, go ahead. How about catfish, bro?
There you go.
All right, hashtag catfish. While this song is playing, what you want to do? While this song is playing, you want to put in hashtag catfish. Hashtag catfish. All one word with the hashtag, which is a pound symbol. And we'll go ahead and pick one person tonight to spin off of that hashtag. As well, we have a chatbot spinner as well. So the chatbot spinner was a question that I asked. I sent out a message earlier today asking a particular question about the zigzag. So if you forgot to put that hashtag in there, you go ahead, and then all those other people that haven't signed up, type in *info and subscribe to the chatbot because there's extra stuff. And yes, Mr. Delancey, we do give away fish on this show. Anyway. Yeah, exactly. Huh? Let's go to... All right, so we're getting ready to do this. I only see 7 people on right now. Is that true? What do you see on, Ron?
I saw 7 too, but that can't be real. Something else must be going on. Unless something froze up. I see. I don't even see it in my window now.
We had 77 before. Oh, something happened to the video. Mine just said it ended. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Let's see. Let's pull us up real quick while we sort out this issue. See what's going on. It still says 7 on here. So one of the things is Facebook changed the way it produces the live on the iPad, and so I can't get to stuff that quick. And it said it ended again, so then it says there's 7. So I'm just waiting for the time to come by. I don't know what's going on. I'm sliding and it's not doing anything.
I think it ended.
Let's see what's going on. Said Facebook blocked something.
I saw that I got a message that it was blocked. Something about the content. Yeah. Says permanent claims blocked your something with the copyright.
Oh, it's just doing all sorts of crazy shit on my side.
It says blocked your video. So I don't know if they can actually do that midstream.
I think if anything it's the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'll just take that out next week.
Yeah, I think they have an issue with that. But I'm not seeing replies from anybody. I don't know if they can even hear us.
No, I don't think they can. I think it's over.
Huh? Let's go to...
Trying to figure this out. It says that it's streaming, but
I'm getting messages that say video won't play.
all right. Well, fuck them. Let's.
Copyright.
All right, everybody. We're back here. Sorry about the delay. Apparently, Facebook is being crazy. So we'll let this come back on real quick. So we're live again here, everybody. I've got to get this back in front of me so I can figure out what's going on. All right, so 1819. So if you're just now coming back on, type into the chat right now pound catfish, and let's get you back in on that so we can give out some winners. If you also with the chat bot, I'm going to be really cool with everybody. The answer to that was an eel. So also type in pound eel. So we're going to pick 2, one from pound eel and one from pound catfish. Okay? I know it's not fair with the chat bot, guys, but you know what? That's what's cool about this show. What's cool about Ron's platform, what's cool about Ron and I is that we're going to include everybody right now. There's 39 people on, 41 people on. Let's get every single person right now. I need both those hashtags, though. Hashtag eel, that was for the chat bot. And then hashtag catfish, which was the show hashtag. So go ahead and do that right now. Get that in there. And we're going to go ahead and start with our campaigns here. All right, so if you're just coming, I'm going to announce this again. We need those hashtags in again. In other words, you're not in the contest, and that's how it works. So we need hashtag catfish for the show giveaway. And like I said, I'm being real cool with the chatbot, guys. And that answer to the question, what was a zigzag eel or yellow eel? And you can type in hashtag eel as well, and everybody can be part of that giveaway as well. So let's get in hashtag catfish, hashtag eel. I'm trying to be cool with everybody. I want everybody in there. Let's see what we can do here. Hashtag catfish, hashtag eel. So apparently, I guess our the one copyright music that I edited down, and I used old sampling rules. So I'm an old school music producer, and so in the old school we could sample 4 seconds and it wouldn't be a issue. So that's what I did, is I sampled 4 seconds of that. Anyway, put that hashtag catfish in there, hashtag eel. I'm taking a little bit longer on this. Normally we wouldn't let this extend out, but because we got interrupted and we had to come back. Super stoked though, Ron, to see 51 people back on.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nice. Good job, everybody. The 2 hashtags that are going to be winning hashtags tonight is hashtag eel, that's 2 E's and an L, and hashtag catfish, which is 1 word. Hashtag eel, hashtag catfish. Okay, so we're ready to do this. I wanted to give a little extra time on there. All right, here I am in the white space. I'm not as blown out as I was last week. All right, so what we do is we pick off of our comment picker. And then here's our post. Just want to make sure that this wasn't the other one. So let me refresh all these posts, because I should have a lot more than that. There should be 2 that say the same exact thing. Comment. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there's 2. Okay, so it's the top one. That's everybody that's on right now. I'm going ahead and got that post. There I am. I'm moving. Yep, that's the right one. All right, so I'm going to say pick winner. Obviously, the first part of this, we cleared out. We just ask it to pick a winner, but that winner's not really the winner. So let me just unpick that person right there. Okay. First people that are going to spin is our hashtag eel. That was a chat bot. Normally we wouldn't do that. Normally we wouldn't reward everybody for that. But since we had this hiccup, if you want to get in on those special secret giveaways, what you need to do is interact, send a message to Fish Talk Live or Star Info. Somehow subscribe to the chat bot and you will get that information. So the chatbot winner to spin for the eel is Mr. Tony Miller. We need to make sure you're still on, Tony. So give us a shout in the chat real quick so that we know that you're on. And for the second one, hashtag catfish. Easy for you to say, Dave. Here we go. So I'm going to pick that winner. And that's Greg Case. And I'm so stoked for that. It's Greg's one of our moderators. And I don't think Greg has ever won anything on the show. So
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So that's cool. Out of working with the show behind the scenes for the last,
year.
8 months. Well, for over a year, but the show for 8 months. And he's never come up. And there he is, Mr. Greg Case. So let's go ahead and go to the wheel. And let's bring the wheel. And that's what the wheel looks like. There we go. So let's do the first one for Tony. Did he show up? Did Tony show up? Did we see him?
I'm looking through.
I'm looking too real quick. I didn't get any messages from anyone.
No, I haven't seen him yet.
Okay, so let's do Greg first. We need to hear from you, Tony. We're going to give you a little extra time. You need to say, I'm here or whatever. Okay, so this is for Greg. Man, I wish we were on the ball. I could have him call in or something, right? Yeah, call in. All right, so give me the color, the position, and the rotation.
So with red, 1 o'clock, bring it over to 9 o'clock for Mr. Greg.
Okay, so there's the red at 1 o'clock.
All right.
Spin
Tony's on. So
okay, you're next, Tony. Good luck, Greg. Again, I know that both Ron and I, we talk about it all the time, how cool the moderators are, and I'm super glad that you're going to be winning something here.
Hopefully he wins a nice large fish.
Yeah, like 20 of them. Here we go. I'm just teasing.
That's a lot in shipping.
Yeah, it is. Here it comes. A gallon of the K1 media. So we got you down.
My friend.
Yeah, congratulations, Greg. Well, when you win something, what you need to do is you need to go to Fish Talk Live page, which is fishtalk.tv, facebook.com, FishTalk .tv. And then in the menu, you'll see claim prize and go through that. The first question is going to be, what street do you live on? Put your street address in. Do you have an apartment? Yes or no? What city? All that. I know it seems a little ridiculous to go through those, but it helps us out a lot. So please do that to do that. Okay. All right. So for Tony, let's go ahead and refresh here. I'll pick the color. You tell me which one, and then I'll pick the position. So I'm going to pick yellow.
Okay.
So,
Pick the 3 o'clock yellow and put it up there at noon.
okay. So we'll spin this yellow around right here. I forgot I got drum rolls for this. All right. So good luck, Tony. Here you go. This is your winning prize, bro. Let me give you that drum roll. And there it is right there, buddy. Oh my gosh.
You missed it.
Oh, we're gonna compensate you something on that. That was the $100 gift card from ADA Tank Supply, or excuse me, from Aquariums. So I don't know how you want to do that, Ron. It's probably best to just say, okay, he hit that one. Even though he barely missed it, he got it. Let me turn on. Let me do something here. Hold on, everybody. All right, Tony, sorry about that. I had to talk to Ron in private. So what happened here, everybody, just so you know, is that I have several of these wheels that are configured differently. Somehow or another loaded the one from Aquariums. The $100 gift card was actually from the Aquarium. So we're going to do one better than that. And instead of the $100 gift card, we're going to give you that large fish. And that includes free shipping, so it pretty much evens it out. You almost had gotten there. It was, it was one off from that. So that's what we're going to do. You win a large fish. You can go on to roncichlids.com and pick out that large fish. First thing you have to do, though, is you must go through the FishTalk Live claim prize. It's going to ask you for your informations and phone numbers, emails, and it's also going to require you to like both the FishTalk Live page and the Ron Cichlids page. But congratulations. Sorry about that mix-up. I hope you understand that gift card was for the episodes 33 and 34, in which we had Chris Team on as the host, and that was his prize that he put on there, and I apologize about that. But, hey, free fish, man. So good job. Congratulations.
Nice. Yeah, just reach out to us and pick out a beautiful large fish.
Yeah. So, if you're not a member of Ron Demers Cichlid Clubhouse, join up because there's the free raffle for the 3,000. I think next week.
We'll do that next show.
Yeah.
Give everybody time to enter and.
Yeah. We're gonna do it next show. So we appreciate y'all. This has been a great show. Been a little long, but not much. Only about 10 minutes, 5 minutes longer than what's normal. It seemed to push through some time at the end. Super proud of you, Ron, that you were able to, kind of make it through for one. You're doing great, man. You're inspiration to all of us.
Thank you. I just want to tell everybody, as everybody keeps asking, and I appreciate your love and support. I am doing good. I never realized never had this major surgery before, and I didn't realize that my body is dedicating a lot of resources to healing right now. So I am a little more tired and fatigued, and I sleep more, and I can't do very much before I get overwhelmed and tired. But I am doing very well. The pain that I had before is gone, but this is a long road. I've still taking care of my customers. My family has helped a lot. Still taking care of local customers and everything else, and answering people online. I have set myself a schedule where I'm really not interacting much after 8:30, just because I'm, a little more sore. But thank you for reaching out to me and seeing how I'm doing. I'm doing great. I love you guys. I'm glad I was able to have another show with you guys tonight. I look forward to next week.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week, July 17th, for episode number 38. We'll let you know what that topic is going to be sometime in this week. Stay tuned after the credits, because I do have that little secret show, as people call it, that video, and I got a cool one for today. You're going to love it. All right, everybody. See you next week.
Africa's a wild place, but it's constantly under threat, especially from population growth. And this area that we fish in is just an incredible place. It's so far removed from the modern world, and the sheer scale, the sheer size of this concession is mind-blowing.
Catching a tigerfish is like nothing else. It's an amazing experience. It's just out of control. It's wild, and it really puts you on the edge, and it's an amazing feeling.
We're just saying it's a tigerfish. Put your boots on. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm ready to play now. Put me in the game now. I came here to prove it. I'm ready to do it. I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage, and I'm ready to break out. My time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real. I'm feeling so ruthless. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of animals mark charts and stuff, over the years, but the look in that animal's face is something I'll never forget. It's a scary animal and needs a lot of respect. I can tell you from my experience.